This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 281 of the Dressage Radio Show on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by TotalSaddleFit.com and Easy Signs Online.
This is Reese Koppler-Stanfield from Georgetown, Kentucky.
And this is Philip Parks from Fergus, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show with our producer, Glenn, who's back to join us this week.
Hey, guys.
Hi, guys. How are you?
Good to be back again.
We always miss
nice.
you.
Yeah, it's nice to have you on.
I was playing with the Percherons last week.
Yeah, did you have fun?
Tell us about that.
Oh, I had a blast. It was such a good time. They had 800 Percherons there, and let me tell you, when you got 800 18 to 19 hand horses, that's a lot of horse.
Where did they put? I mean, could they fit in a regular stall?
Well, that was the thing. One of the things when they go do these things is the stalls are still 10 by 10.
Yeah.
And they, if they lay down, they worry about them getting cast because. You know how tall those stalls are when you go to horse shows, right? So the horses can't reach over and talk to each other. Some of them, their heads were over the top of that.
I believe it. I believe it.
So they can talk to each other.
Yeah, those guys can. An average thoroughbred or warm blood wouldn't be able to, but those guys could. So I got to drive a pair, and Wendy and I from the driving radio show, we got to be in the driving competition, and Dr. Pohl was there from the veterinary show. I don't know if you ever saw Dr. Pohl, but he was there, quite a celebrity. He had a big following. He's on the National Geographic Channel.
Oh, okay.
Wow, how cool.
Yeah, and he was there, so he competed. Wendy ended up winning. She ended up winning the celebrity driving. We drove a pair through an obstacle course, which was fun.
How cool is that?
Yeah, I came in fourth. I did beat Dr. Pohl, so I was happy about that. So, and then one of the coolest things that happened is we got to meet a lot of listeners. Probably about 30 listeners were there, which was really fun. And then we got to drive on the wagon with an 8-hand hitch.
Oh, my gosh. Was that scary?
Well, we didn't drive, but we were sitting beside the driver, and he has 4 reins in each hand woven through each finger and controlling 4 pairs. And let me tell you, that front pair is a ways out there. When you got 8 of them, and those wagons are so high, you're looking down on 18-hand Percherons. It was cool. The power that 8 of those horses have is incredible.
Oh, I bet. Wow.
Yeah, that was a lot lot. And then
what an experience.
Yeah, we really did. It was a treat. The whole time we were there was a treat. And it didn't snow while we were in Massachusetts, so we were happy.
You never know.
Yeah, you never know.
I think it's never going to stop raining in Kentucky. I don't know if anyone's in this area of the country, but oh my gosh, we're getting a lot of rain right now. It has been raining for the last 2 weeks almost. It's awful.
I do have to tell you about one demonstration thing they tried for the first time. And the World Percheron Congress comes to the United States every 4 years. They did barrel racing. It was
with a Percheron?
It was hilarious.
No,
they had like 25 of them out there. It was hilarious. You've seen barrel racing, Reese, there in Lexington, and it takes 12 seconds to get around the pattern. With the good one, these guys were taking 30, 40 seconds. It was.
It's like if I were to do a course like that.
It was funny. Some were spooking at the barrels, and it was just lumbering along.
Sounds like a
That's
hoot.
awesome. Good for. Oh, how fun is that? Sounds like fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. And you were at a show at the Horse Park?
We were actually, I think it was the largest regionals in the country or close to it. I think they had something like 1,700 rides.
Whoa.
It was enormous. And it was,
that's a lot of dressage.
It was, oh my goodness. It was a lot. And we had so much rain, and the Kentucky Horse Park Dressage Complex really, really needs to be renovated. Funny enough, it is actually the last part of the horse park to be renovated. And the footing was horrendous, so they had to move the rings. And it was just intense. At one point, there were 3 different venues.
Yeah, I think I saw one that looked like a lake
It was a lake.
Somebody's photo.
It was a lake. That was probably me.
Water.
Yeah, it was awful. So it was really hard. I mean, there was like 3 different venues, and I rode Denali, and I have to be honest, for where he is right now at the moment and what he had to do. So to school at a regional championship, the rule is once you are on the grounds, you have to stay on the grounds. So it was hard for me to I didn't want to take him on Wednesday and not show till Sunday. So I elected and made a choice to not take him in, but he had to go in to the stadium and make probably a 15-minute walk from the stabling to the stadium, which is really far on a younger horse, and lots of stuff going on. He had to do that 3 times that day. So it was a lot. He ponied up. I was really proud of him, and he did a really good job for where he was. And but it was fun. We got to ride in the stadium. But a shout out I've got to give to Laura Phillips, who's been on the show. She made it to the national finals. And I have another student, Jill Stowe, who's also wonderful. She's a working mom and does the UK equine programs. She also made it to the national finals. So two of my group are going in a couple weeks. So that was really fun. And we have a couple things in news from the championships, a lot of great rides, but a special shout out to Debbie Hill of Gurley, Alabama. She's been here on the show and done a trainer tip. She was beaming after her victory on Marcella Ann Richardson's exceptional Hanoverian Bucciato. Although the 7-year-old gelding is newcomer to the level, which was 4th level, they won with a 70.118. But what was really cool about this, and Debbie, this was on Dressage Daily, mentioned that she was recently diagnosed with breast cancer on June 1st. And she's currently undergoing chemotherapy. And she said she had to choose one horse to continue working with, and it was him. My doctors called me a soldier, but what he didn't realize is that the horses keep me going. So coming here and winning means a lot to her. This horse takes care of me in here, and he's very forward and always willing and safe and easy to show because he loves it. I was so thrilled to be here. And shout out to Debbie.
Congratulations to her. Yeah,
she's amazing.
To her.
Trainer and to be undergoing chemotherapy was pretty cool. So that was my favorite story of the weekend. And but lots of good rides, and people really did a great job, and KDA did a fantastic job with as many things that was going on. It was amazing. So really fun. So we're looking forward to nationals.
Did I see that our own Hillary Moore Hebert did well and is heading to nationals? Did I see her post that?
She is. I can't wait.
With her dollar horse.
Is she region 1 or which region did she ride in?
Oh, I'm pretty sure she's region run. Don't take. Yes, I'm pretty sure. And she's on this weekend. She's at the BLM championships. We asked her to come on this week, but she was busy. She'll be on next week, taking her horse to the BLM finals. So she's had an amazing season, and I can't wait to hear about everything, and then have her here in my backyard in about 2.5 weeks. Should be lots of fun.
Awesome.
So what else is in the news, Philip?
Well, let's look at this. The USDF has named George Williams the youth coach and Charlotte Bradall Baker as his assistant. So that's good. After Jeremy Steinberg stepped down, we have a new youth coach, and George Williams is pretty awesome.
He is. He actually coached me as a junior and my sister. So I have a lot. George is a wonderful, wonderful guy, and he'll do a really, really good job with all of that. So wish him luck for sure. So,
and we also have some good condolences. Viva Salieri, the stallion that Tom Dvorak rode to Canada's silver medal team at the 2011 Pan American Games, has died a couple of weeks ago of colic. He was only 13. He had made the transition to Grand Prix and was really starting to come along and look like he was going to be a very good Canada team mount at the Grand Prix level. And unfortunately, as happens with these horses, he had a colic attack and had to be euthanized. So really sorry and sad to hear about that.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. So as we know, that always happens it happens in horses, and it's tough. So we wish him luck as he rebuilds. It's always a tough thing. You and I have both been through it, and I'm sure all our listeners have too. So, on a happier note, Philip, who do we have on the show?
Well, we got Canada week, I guess. Megan Lane's going to come on and talk about her trip to the World Equestrian Games. We're pretty excited to hear from her. And we're also going to keep her on the show and have her hang around to give us a trainer tip as well. So really looking forward to that. Should be a good interview.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, Cal, let's mention this at the beginning of the show today. We have we have a little contest going on.
We introduced it last week.
Yeah, but let's talk about it at the beginning of the show in case anybody missed it at the end of the show last week. We got some emails in, but we certainly could use more, right?
Yeah, well, Justin from TotalSaddleFit.com, who sponsors our trainer tip of the week every week, had said that he wanted to hear more saddle fitting questions and questions related to tack. So we decided that maybe we should sponsor a free girth to the best question that we come up with in October. We're getting the questions in, and we hope a bunch more come in, and we're gonna try and answer all of the questions, but we're gonna pick, I guess, our favorite one between Reese, Justin, and I, and that person will win a free girth from TotalSaddleFit.com. So I thought that was a pretty good idea from Justin, and basically just keep your questions coming in via email, and we can get to all of them, hopefully.
And send them to Philip, that's PHILIP, at horseradionetwork.com, or Reese at horseradionetwork.com. Either one.
Perfect. Well, I guess after this commercial, we'll get to our interview with Megan Lane.
This week's EasySignsOnline.com spotlight product is their New England Style Farm Signs, their most popular line of signs. New England Style Farm Signs are very durable and designed for long-term outdoor use with no maintenance required, no wood to rot, and no paint to peel. They will outlast the old style painted wood signs by many, many years. They are available in many sizes, shapes, and styles, which makes them the perfect sign for any farm or business. Go online today and go through the EasySignsOnline.com easy step-by-step ordering process to see all the prices and options available. They also offer free, no-obligation sign proofs on all New England-style signs, and you get free shipping as well on all New England-style signs. So replace your old worn-out sign and make a great first impression with a new farm sign from EasySignsOnline.com. And the holidays are right around the corner, so it's a terrific gift idea. I can't think of a better one. Visit EasySignsOnline.com.
Well, we are so excited this evening to have Megan Lane on, Canadian World Equestrian Games rider from Normandy. Megan, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, we're so excited, and I forgot to mention that you are the head trainer at Deer Ridge Equestrian Center in Loretta, Canada, which is also going to be the host of the training camp for the Pan American Games that is happening in Canada this summer, or next summer, actually. Is that correct?
That's correct, yep.
Great. Well, we are so happy to have you on the show. And we just, I've been following you and Caravella since you guys were doing Young Riders. And I just love your story. And I wanted you to come on and talk to our listeners a little bit about her and your journey to getting her to the World Equestrian Games.
Thank you very much. I've started with her since 2009. She was an 8-year-old then. And I had bought her from a hunter-jumper dealer for very, very little money. I bought her as a project horse, not really knowing where it would go. And that same year, I qualified her actually on the Canadian junior team. That year, we went ahead and got 3 medals. The following year, similar story, except I moved her up to Young Riders. That next year, I also triple medaled with her. So that was where it kind of hit me that I might have something special. And then the next year, I did Young Riders with her as well, and also did really, really well.
So Megan, you got it from a hunter dealer. How much training did she have in her, and how did she progress so fast to medal it at the juniors the same year?
She had very basic dressage work, some lateral movement. You could put her on the bit, which was a strike in my direction. She had perfectly late flying changes.
Perfectly late. I love it.
Yeah, so that was my first priority. But me and her clicked, which was the reason why I begged my mom to get her. Because on the ground, she's not the most friendly mare. She's a little bit smaller. And back then I did look a little bit on the big side for her, with her lack of conditioning. She looked very petite. So, those strikes against her, I really felt strongly about wanting her. So,
what were some things? What made you want, like when you saw her at the Hunter Jumper Barn, what made you say, I think this will even just be a dressage horse, not even a wag horse?
Well, honestly, at first glance, I kind of ignored her at the beginning because I thought, no, that horse is that's not one that we're looking at. She looks too nice. Cut to, she was actually the one we were there looking at. So, it was love at first sight, I guess you could say.
I think that happens a lot. I think you just have to be ready and open to listen to that sort of love at first sight feeling. But I get that. I do get that.
Yeah. It was fun.
So how did you make the transition from sort of, okay, she's done extremely well at juniors and the young rider level. What made you say, okay, now I want to take her into the sort of the international ranks?
Really, I was flying by the seat of my pants. Just progressing from young riders. I had never trained a horse to Grand Prix prior to her. So it was really just playing around with the tricks. And because she's so smart and we got along so well, she tried really, really hard for me. So the more she learned, the more eager she was. So it just kind of, everything just sort of started coming quicker and quicker. She had a real talent for the changes and for Piaffe. So, working with what I think are two of the most challenging movements, I thought was really, really super exciting.
Take us through a little bit of your WEG journey this year, and how you qualified, the trip to Europe, some of the competitions you did leading up to the games, and how that all came together for you.
Sure. I had high hopes of qualifying for the team. I really just took it day by day and show by show. The first show, I actually did really, really well in Florida. So that gave me a little bit of confidence that it could be a possibility. And then it was really, you just sort of stay focused on doing the best that you can at each show and not blowing it too much out of proportion. And then, this is my first year on going to a major games. So you just sort of, you take it in, you stay humble and modest and open-minded. And I think that's what made it, enjoyable and a really positive experience.
Megan, how long was the Canadian team in Europe? How long were you there for this summer?
Karen Pavicic, she went over a couple months before David and I did. I think she went right after the Florida season. She went right to Germany. And then beginning of July, David and I went over. And then Belinda shortly after, about 3 weeks after. So in total, we were there for a little bit less than, David and I were there for a little bit less than 2 months, sorry.
Okay. But that's still a long time to leave your business and to leave your training and to go. And that is a significant amount of time. It
is. Yep, for sure. I have a really supportive group behind me. The Dressage equestrian team here. And of course, my parents and my sister was there grooming for me throughout. So, I have a really good support team. and I think that's absolutely essential in at this level.
Absolutely. We talk about that a lot. It just takes a village. And even, I think just even as an amateur rider, when you need your village, you need your help to get to the ring. And that's a good thing. I think that's the fun part about it is your village can celebrate when you do well. So exactly. I'm dying to know, what was it like to go into that stadium at the World Equestrian Games for your team test? What did it feel like?
It actually, my mindset was just that it's another show. I'm there to do my job the best that I can. Caravella noticed the impressiveness of the stadium more than I did, I think. But yeah, it was really when the last halt salute that you kind of, look around and notice the extravagance of the whole thing. It's very impressive. Very cool.
I bet.
Yeah. And Aachen was, I would say, one of the highlights for me, even in my career. It was a fantastic energy in the stadium, and for that reason, it was one of my most fun tests to ride to date. So.
Did you feel did that help you prepare getting in that big stadium and that atmosphere to know what to expect at the World Equestrian Games?
Absolutely. Yeah, it was and then coming out with over 70% was really reassuring to me also, that I am the same here as in Europe, from a judge's perspective as well. So yeah, it was reassuring.
Oh, I can imagine. I mean, that's just such a dream. I think so many of us think, what would it be like to ride down the center line at Aachen, or what would it be like to ride down the center line at the World Equestrian Games? I mean, that's so cool that you've gotten that experience.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's still a little surreal.
I bet.
It feels like I'm talking in, third person.
So what was your whole games experience like? Not just the riding. What was it like to sort of be there as a competitor and just be at the games? What was it like for all of us that weren't there?
It was amazing because of how supportive the team was as a whole. Yeah, it was a fantastic energy, I would say. Really, really positive experience all around.
So tell us, what's next for you? Are you headed down to Florida this season, back competing? Do you have any new interesting horses coming up? Tell us all about it.
I do. Dressage Equestrian has 4 horses that I'll be declaring for the Pan Ams with, as well as a really nice young horse that I'll be doing the 6-year-olds with next year. As well, my own horse, Caravella, will be heading down to Florida mid-November and then staying there throughout the season until probably the end of March.
Super.
So yeah, that'll keep me busy, I think.
That is great. Well, Megan, tell us, how do our listeners find you online?
I have a website, meganlanedressage.com. There you can find all of my information, as well as the Dressage Equestrian website. They also have a beautiful website that you can see the facility where the Canadian team will be preparing for the Pan Ams next year. So myself and the owners are very excited to have everyone here.
Excellent. Well, right after this commercial break, we're going to come back. We're going to steal Megan for our trainer tip of the week from Total Saddle Fit. So right after this commercial break, we're going to have her back for our trainer tip.
Hello, Robin Donahue here, and I'm an official HRN auditor. I love the programming that the Horse Radio Network offers and have chosen to support them through a monthly contribution. If you enjoy listening to any of the Horse Radio Network shows, won't you join us as a member of the HRN Auditor family? You can do it for as little as $1 a month. Just go to horseradionetwork.com and click on the HRN Auditor banner. And don't forget, as an auditor, we get the blooper reel.
This week's dressage training tip is brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, home of the shoulder relief girth at TotalSaddleFit.com.
Well, for our Total Saddle Fit trainer tip of the week, we asked Megan to stay on with us. She was doing such a great job with her first interview. We wanted to grab her for an interview about Travers. So Megan, talk us through Travers. What is it? How do you do it? And let's start talking about Travers.
Okay. Well, I'll try to explain it the best way I can. Most people probably know it as haunches in. So the horse is bending into the direction that they're going. From the rider's perspective, you want to think about keeping the middle of the horse's chest pointing in the direction that you want to that you're going, essentially, with the angle of the haunches slightly on the inner track. So for that, you want to have your outside leg slightly back, asking the hind end to step inside, and then just channeling, keeping the horse straight between your outside rein and your inside leg. Always with every movement, you want to think about the basics of the horse. So, things like the impulsion and the suppleness and the rhythm, none of those things can change while the horse is in any movement, let alone Travers. So basically, once you have perfected Travers, it's kind of exciting because you then essentially have the components you need for half passes. So half passes in trot and canter. It's also the beginning of pirouettes, in the walk and the canter. Travers essentially is, for a pirouette, it's a very small circle of Travers. So
yeah, it's a pretty fun movement, but it's I find it kind of one of the tougher ones to start to teach. Now, Reese, what do you think about your checklist before you start thinking haunches in?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's always, a great question. I think that all three of us can say, sometimes it depends on the horse. But, I always like to think, or always like to have my horses do shoulder in first. That's sort of I do leg yield, then I'll go to shoulder in. And then I like to think of Travers or haunches in as the last step of a 10-meter circle. So as I am riding a 10-meter circle, I will then ask for the haunches in. And a lot of times I'll do it in the walk before I do it in the trot. You can also do it in the canter when you're going toward a canter pirouette. But that's sort of the start of my checklist. And I, even on the young horses, sort of like to play around with it and say, oh, look, I want your shoulders over here, or I want to bring your shoulders over here, or you bring your haunches in this particular case. So I don't know how you guys started, but I started off of a 10-meter circle. And then I will move it down the long side. And then, like Megan was saying, to teach half passes, haunches in on the diagonal line is really close to half pass. So I'll also play with using the haunches in on the diagonal to do that. You don't do that in a test, but it's also a good way to teach half pass. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, that sounds pretty good. For me, I always make sure that I can really leg yield the horse off of the wall, because you know how they really like to be like magnets and glue and stuck on the wall, and then all of a sudden you're asking for the horse's hind legs to step off of the wall. That's a really hard thing to do. So to start, I mean, just like I think it's first level test 3, you have to do your leg yield starting it off of the wall, right. And I make sure my horse is really parallel when I'm doing that, because you need that reaction from the outside leg for the horse to really step off the wall. If they lean over with their shoulders and then start moving off the wall, it's too much like a diagonal, and it's not enough directed from the rider. So that's really an important checklist that the horse understands. Okay, and then even in halt, doing a little bit of a turn, turn on the forehand, right? Being able to push your horse around your leg a little bit. And I always try to really enforce in the horses and the riders that Travers and shoulder in are super bending, super suppling exercises where the horse has to really, trying to bring the nose a little bit closer to the tail. And in Travers, the idea is kind of bringing the tail a little bit closer to the nose. If you think of them always as sideways movements or lateral movements, then you miss pieces of that suppleness. That is the real point of doing this exercise. So that's my 2 cents on haunches in.
Yeah, Megan, how do you start haunches in?
Similar to what you said, I like to start it in the walk, usually exactly the same way off of a 10-meter circle. I sometimes do leg yield towards the wall. Like Philip said, just making sure that they're easily manipulated and responsive from your leg to move away from your leg easily. Those are good, excellent starting points for having an easy result.
Yeah, and just to kind of as something I was just thinking about is I do a lot of this stuff in the walk when I first start, even on the baby horses, just to play with it and just say, oh, can I move you here, move you there? What do you guys feel about doing this sort of in the walk before you go on to trot?
Yeah,
I mean, it's
agree.
good. I was just going to say sometimes in the walk the horses can get a little bit stressy. Certain horses, there's not enough forward movement to, so like you said, I mean, in everything in training, it all depends on the horse and their reaction and what works best for the combination. And so, yeah, that's the only, kind of worry I have a little bit in the walk. You don't want to mess up the walk, right? I think a lot of riders hear that because it's impossible to fix. So.
True.
Yeah.
True. Megan, how about yourself? Do you do any of this stuff in the walk with your young ones, or?
I do. I agree with Philip also. It's dependent on the horse. However, I do it. I do many movements in the walk just while I'm warming up, from my 5-year-old to my Grand Prix horse. So, I think it's all very relevant and a super starting point for good training.
I love it. Very good. So as you, even talking about a Grand Prix horse, I think, what are some applications of Travers other than sort of the second level, from H to E or whatever it is for your Travers? What are some other applications that you can use Travers for?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
Well, I was thinking more like haunches in on a circle, to kind of going toward a pirouette. Certainly, something
it's so
that
important. It comes into even every single corner. I think if you want to make deep corners, the horse has to have the body suppleness to do that. And Travers is a wonderful and a great way to teach that, because you might notice that some horses, they come through the corner a little bit too much in shoulder in, and then you lose the hind legs a little bit, and then you don't have your bend, right? And if you can contain the hind legs a little bit around small turns or corners, then the horse has a lot more suppleness and balance to be able to do everything from just the basic movements all the way up into passage, where you really have to
agree.
Keep that horse super in line and super in balance.
Yep, I would agree with that. I think that it is also a great way to keep your horse supple and improve the balance and strength to be able to carry a fantastic cadenced gait, whether it be trot or canter. It comes into play, especially for me with my horse, on that first turn after the passage, the turn in the passage. I apply Travers a little bit there to keep her supple and fluent. So it's applicable at all stages. It's a very important exercise.
Well, Megan, thank you so much for your time this evening and staying on for our trainer tip of the week. You were fantastic, and we look forward to hearing how you do in Florida this winter, and keep in touch with us for sure.
Absolutely. It's completely my pleasure.
This tip was brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, the shoulder relief girth that Reese and Philip both love. And here's why.
The saddle fit solution you have been waiting for is finally here. TotalSaddleFit.com is proud to introduce the Shoulder Relief Girth. This strategically shaped girth actually moves the girth line of your saddle back over 1 inch, thereby freeing your horse's shoulders from the saddle. Traditional girths pull saddles up against a horse's shoulders and often over the top of the shoulders. The shoulder relief girth's recessed ends allow for the billets to buckle into the girth farther back to give your horse unparalleled freedom of motion. We are so certain that your saddle will fit better and your horse will be more comfortable that for a limited time we are offering a 30-day, 110% money-back guarantee. If you are not totally satisfied with your shoulder relief girth, send it back for a full refund plus 10% of the purchase price. Don't wait. Order now for the best saddle fit solution available.
At TotalSaddleFit.com. Visit TotalSaddleFit.com. Well, that was fun hearing from a Canadian beside Philip.
Same accent? Is it the same accent, guys?
Yes, there's a lot of outs and abouts. I'm just saying.
A lot of about the same. Yep.
Okay, I don't hear it.
Well, coming up next, we have something else for you tonight. A little while back at the American Equestrian Trade Association, which is the trade show where all the wholesalers come in to sell to the retailers, I had an opportunity to catch up with an old friend of mine since the 90s, Carrie Kent, who some of you may recognize that name. She's the founder of Kerrits. And Kerrits apparel and clothing have gotten more and more popular. Well, they've always been popular in general riding world and the eventing world. And they've come out with more and more products now that are appealing to the dressage world. And we had a conversation about that, about dressage and what she's trying to do to really break into this world. And then I mentioned this, and Reese said, you said you just bought a jacket from him.
I did. I have an adorable coat that I just bought. It's a Kerrit coat, and it's, let me tell you, I put it to the waterproof test this weekend at the regional finals. It is very waterproof. I'm just saying. And it's great. So it's really cute and waterproof and good to ride in. And it's a really nice coat. I really like it. So.
Yeah, and they've really expanded their line. It used to be just the Kerrits breeches or tights that were super tight. That's what they got known for in the 90s. And now they've expanded out into a ton of different products. They actually have a fashion show twice a year at the American Equestrian Trade Association event. They have a fashion show, and all the retailers come every hour and sit around the boardwalk, the runway, and she has a bunch of actual riders that model the clothing and come out, and they actually do the runway thing.
Nice.
It is pretty cool.
I want that job. I think that sounds like fun. Can I do that?
She has a couple of people, eventers and different riders that she has that come every 6 months to do it, and it's a lot of fun. Yeah,
I would walk the catwalk. I'm just saying.
She puts a lot of effort into it.
Cool.
So let's hear from Carrie Kent from Kerrits. Well, hi, Carrie. Welcome to the Dressage Radio Show.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. It's my first time.
Yes, we've had you on a lot of the other shows, and we've talked about Kerrits and for over the last 6 years, I think, since we started, certainly. And we knew you before that.
I've really enjoyed co-hosting. I've learned a lot of very informative things by the people I got to interview. It was great. I loved it.
Fun.
She's got the radio show bug.
Yes,
I do. I love it.
We need to get you hosting a show now. See, I mean,
the Kerrits radio.
Add that to your list of things to do.
I'll work up to that.
Yes,
the Kerrits radio show. We do gardening. No.
Well, now Kerrits has been known outside the dressage world for a long time, and you're really now. I'm starting to see a lot more dressage riders in Kerrits. So what do you think? Why do you think that transition has come, and what has made the leap?
I think we've added a lot of different technology for giving grip in the saddle through a variety of different seats, and I think that people are looking for their own personal level of grip. There's a lot of technology with synthetics, and of course that's always been our specialty. We've never really gone into the hides. We like to have product that's completely machine washable and durable and affordable. That's definitely our position in the marketplace. So we're seeing a lot more interest in that, especially on the everyday ride. We have some products that give you more grip in the saddle than any other brands out there. So people sometimes have started wearing us as schooling apparel, are now taking us into the show ring because they don't want to sacrifice that connection.
Oh yeah, if you're that's one of the hallmarks of being a good show rider is don't be changing your equipment.
No, you don't want to be making any changes to your equipment. And the nice thing with our product is it does go in the washing machine, so you can be at a show. You can literally rinse them. You can use rubbing alcohol on your white britches. Do a quick clean. That's the best thing to clean a britch, actually, if you're in an emergency situation. Little dab of rubbing alcohol. Get with a towel. It'll take off any black, on a white pant that you have.
Well, yeah, and there are no white dressage breeches anywhere that don't have shoe black on them.
No, it's impossible to stay white. We do actually have garments that you can wear over top, so we can at least protect you from all the way onto the horse.
Until you get onto the horse.
But once you're up there, then it's anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Well, that's a great idea because everybody's got a bottle of rubbing alcohol in their tack trunk.
Yeah, and it's a great, quick solution. But we also use fabrics that you can dip literally into a bucket, shake off. They're fast drying, so in any of our shirts or any of our other products. So they're very show friendly. And as you know, it's a long day at a horse show.
Very long, yes.
Now, and dressage riders tend to be into technology.
Yes.
And you obviously are. Kerrits is. So where's the match there?
I think it's the understanding. Dressage riders have a lot of experience in other industries. They're athletic. They know what's happening with wickable, breathable fabrics. They tend to be well dressed and put together. They like all of those things. They're a very fun group because they also are not afraid of color on their everyday riding. They embrace change and they're familiar with what's happening in other sports. So they want those fabrics that give a technical advantage. So if they perhaps are golfers or skiers or swimmers, and they're thinking, they know about stretch, they know about wicking, breathing, durability, and they want to see that performance go into their dressage apparel.
So this year, I was watching your fashion show again, which is one of the things we always do when we come to the American Equestrian Trade Association show. And you had, again, the most busy booth over there with all of the retailers there. What do you see in your lines coming out this year that the dressage riders are really going to take to?
I think the Icefill technology, which has been around
Explain that.
Icefill is a wonderful fabric that it comes in a lot of varieties of thickness and weight, so I'll talk about that in just a minute. But the way that the fabric works is that it helps take the layer of sweat on your skin and absorb it faster, and it gives you a feeling of about a 5-degree cooler temperature on your skin. So it's a very technical fabric. It only works when it's exposed to air. So if it's underneath a jacket or a vest, it's not going to work, but if it's directly exposed to the air as you move, it will lower your skin temperature. So it's very lightweight. We offer it in prints, which is a very nice thing this season because that tends to hide dirt, very easy to wear. And at a retail at $56, it's got a very well priced. So that technology's been around, but it's been in the $100 range. So Kerrits is excited to be able to bring it into the market, at a better price point.
Are you using the Icefill in your tops and breeches?
Well, we have an exclusive for the breeches and the bottoms. So we do.
Now that's a little groundbreaking.
That's groundbreaking. And that is obviously a much different weight than the shirts. It's got a much higher lycra content and stretch. It has a nice hand. It's got compression. It's a non-revealing fabric in a matte finish. That means it's not shiny. And we do it with 2 pockets on the sides. We do it also in children's. And to get the grip in that fabric, instead of doing a traditional knee patch or full seat version, we use carrot stick technology. And it's a silicone shaped as a little carrot stick that's done all the way through in a full seat pattern.
Oh, so there's still full seats.
There's still full seats. They're still machine washable. They're also available in children's. And children's for the dressage market, it's very difficult to find an actual technical breech for kids. So we have a huge following in that category.
And I think, too, when you think about Kerrits years ago, one of the complaints we would hear about Kerrits is they're too revealing. They were too much tights, too revealing. And that's changed a whole lot. I think, again, as the fabric evolves in other industries, like the climbing industry, people like Patagonia are developing fabrics. Those fabrics then have enough volume to start to come in as mainstream into equestrian. So that's been a big advantage. The equestrian world's not quite big enough to develop their own exclusive fabrics, but they are able to take on other sports and use that in this industry.
So you have your carrot sticks, which is a level of grip. You have other levels of grip in your breeches too.
Yes, we go all the way through. We develop we have probably 5 different fabrications that we use for our full seats, so that you have lots.
That's a wide variety for one company. That's a lot,
and it's a lot of fun because everyone has different needs. There are some people that want to be exclusively tight to the tack and not move at all. When they drive their car, which has a leather seat, to the barn,
maybe not
they also don't move. So don't get me wrong, you are going to stick. and there are people who feel very comfortable with that, and that gives them confidence, especially on a young horse or something. Or an amateur, but there are other people who feel like they don't want that level of stick. So we have different things. We also use environmentally friendly fabrics like an eco suede, originally developed by Ultra Suede, and it has a nice brushed medium grip. So those are things that we use often.
Oh, Glenn's peering at the catalog. You must have found something he really
one
likes.
of the things I'm seeing out at shows now is your jackets, which, I'm starting to see in the wild now.
Yeah.
As they would say in the tech world. So that's great. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. And that's, again, we have a nice price point of $129. It's a great alternative to a traditional show coat.
And we're talking show coats here.
Yeah, traditional show coat styling. It's got the piping. It's got some wonderful colors. But again, toss it in the washing machine, drop it in a bucket, scrub it. It looks brand new every time. It's very durable fabric.
I know I see a lot of eventers with that just because of the ease of cleaning and because they're always getting it dirty.
Right. It's a great backup show coat. We have sizes now from extra small all the way through to 2X, so we have a great variety of sizing. Very easy for stores to stock, and a great durable piece.
That's great. In dressage, maybe more so than some other disciplines, there's a significant warm-up period for that horse. And for a lot of horses, stopping and putting on your jacket is not an option. You put it on when you get on the horse and you keep moving.
They are often,
so this is great. You can just put it on.
Large horses too. Just even to hand a jacket up to someone and not spook a horse is a challenge.
Or you're on one of these youngsters that's just a little bit. No,
fresh,
you don't want to do that. You can put the jacket on. And
I want to
up.
clarify that we're not talking about Reese and Phillips horses.
No,
of course not.
Denali would never spook at anything.
Never.
But you can put it on and be comfortable. If it gets a little dirt on it, you just wipe it off, and you can be fresh as a daisy when you go in the shower.
And that's also the technology, though, of using breathable fabrics. So you can be so much more comfortable by using a breathable fabric.
Yeah.
And I'd love to talk a little bit about mesh, because a lot of people feel that a mesh fabric is very breathable.
And there's some of that out there.
It's got to be breathable.
Yeah, there's some of that out there right now,
The problem
too.
is that mesh is really not breathable. It's a nylon, and next to skin causes you to sweat, but it doesn't have any advantage to be able to pull that moisture away from the skin. So when people are thinking mesh, don't think that it's necessarily cooler. Try it. Experiment with it. Wear it and then wear other fabrics, because it's one of those things that's a little bit gimmicky in this market, is to use a mesh. It's technically not an advantage.
Interesting.
I always would have thought that it was different than that.
No, it's more like a sweatsuit, actually. It has it captures heat and holds it in and doesn't release it.
Oh, because you're creating an air layer of non-moving air between the inside and the outside, just like a horse blanket does.
Right, and it's just the same as a horse blanket. It's the exact same thing. So be careful with your horses when you think that mesh is actually very breathable. It's not, and it will cause an animal to sweat, and it will cause a human to sweat. So it's not something to think it's the coolest fabric. It's definitely, there's a lot more technical fabrics that release that heat.
Where's the best place for people to go to see the new products coming out?
If you go to www.kerrits.com, you can see fashion shows. You can experience our team riders testing it. We have a lot of ambassadors, and we have a blog, so you get a lot of feedback that way. We're with it, obviously, in Dover catalog and Smart Pack, and some of the other online people cover it on their own from a different perspective, which is fun. So we're available in lots of different retail stores who are our partners, and you can actually touch it. I feel it's really important. Online sales are a wonderful thing, but you need to understand that a fabric, you need to touch it. It's a very tactile experience, and that's something by going to your retail stores and trying it on and experiencing that gives you a much better understanding.
That was a great interview from Carrie Kent, and we appreciate hearing all about new fabrics and things for Dressage World. We always appreciate it. I always appreciate it. I don't know about Philip and Glenn, but
I'm not so
really
much into the fashion. Everything I buy needs to last forever. Otherwise, I think it's a terrible product.
Well, Meredith and I will work
even if
together
even if it's uncomfortable or whatever, it's fine.
Someday we'll have him get away from Goodwill and actually go to a store. Someday.
That'll be good. Do they have Goodwill in Canada, not. Philip? I don't even know if that's a Canadian brand.
I don't know either.
Goodwill, it exists.
Oh, that's good to know. It's our culture of the day. Well, everybody, keep those emails and Facebook shout outs coming. And remember our Total Saddle Fit. We are still looking for questions, saddle fitting questions for Justin and from Total Saddle Fit. And at the end of the month, we will pick the best question, and they will be the winner will win a new girth from Justin whatever size you need. So we look forward to hearing some more. We've already gotten some great questions. So Philip and I are really going to have to sit down and work on this. So we love it. Keep those guys coming. And you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter @Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
You can find me at philipparksequestrian.com, and my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors for allowing us to put on a great show. And don't forget to check out all of the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we'll talk to you next week.